Bonjour and welcome to Tuesday evenings. It is 7 p.m. on the dot, on the nose, on the button. It is Antony Baron von Bakerham and joined as everywhere else, as every week by the short, esteemed, the absolutely fantastic.
Did you say short? Did you say the short? I'm sitting down, but thank you.
How are you, John?
I'm well. I mean, heck, you know, Easter's over and done with, so we've got enough chocolate now to see us through till I don't know, summer. And of course the rules change. We can, the rule of 6 and visitors and guests and all that kind of lovely stuff. So it's quite a busy Easter. So I'm kind of back at work and glad to be back for a rest.
Yeah, it's interesting that, isn't it? I mean, we obviously we speak every day, but we haven't talked on this platform, which I feel
Sorry, mate. Carry on.
You're welcome to Seacast Live. Anyway, guys, it's Tuesday, the 6th of April. I'm Anthony. This is John. We are live, and we're ready for this evening.
I genuinely apologise for the interruption. I was just clicking something so I could see what people were commenting, and suddenly you appeared again. So I owe you an apology. Sorry.
Were you talking about that? Are you apologising for that interruption or the first one?
Okay.
Fantastic. Anyway, it's great to be back. Like I said, Tuesday the 6th of April is 7 p.m. We're alive every Tuesday unless something else comes up that's more important. And we like doing this. I think the thing I like about this, John, is this is just us having a conversation about stuff that's not work related. This is literally stuff that we actually care about, and not that we don't care about work. But this is I can hear myself as well.
Not me, not guilty, my lord.
Well, I can tell you now, it's not coming from me.
Spooky.
While John tries to figure out the technical aspect of the business, I'm in a hotel room, as you can probably tell. There it is 7 p.m. I have some interesting news tomorrow. We'll save it tomorrow because I have something planned at 11 o'clock to put out to my public, to the people that listen to me. That's better. I can't hear myself now because it doesn't matter how much you turn down your phone. I can still hear myself.
It's not me. It's not me. We've had this is kind of interesting because I'm looking at my YouTube page. It's not on there. I've just looked at my Twitter page. It's not on there.
For those of you that don't know, John has 25 screens. It's like he's a commodities trader working in the city. He's got CBBS on the top. It's mental. But we are live, guys. So we do enjoy this. So please feel free to jump on and say hi, say hello, say no. Normally, I'm a little bit more dressed up than this, but I've had a full day of doing stuff, which we'll talk about tomorrow.
But you can't keep saying tomorrow. That's just not fair, right? That's like
obviously, but much as everybody else, I would like to tell everybody else, it is something that's happening tomorrow. But it is a change. It is a huge change for me, which kind of brought us to the subject. So, we talked about this earlier on, John. So please just give us a little bit of a rundown on what we're going to have a chat about this evening.
Well, I mean, so if you talk about the world of work, right, and the world of work is a very broad term, but if you talk about the world of work and how that's changed and how it's going to change and all that kind of stuff, there are a number of
like a
halo
saint. Sorry, I just want to.
There are a number of elements, right? And the most conversation at the moment is how people are turn to the office or work from home and all of the steady state, right? So you're working, you're either going to be in the office next month, end of the year, whatever, or you're not, or a combination of. But when we talk about the world of work, that's what people focus on. But actually, at any one time, there's a massive amount of people applying for jobs, thinking about leaving. And then on the other side of the table, there's people trying to recruit people. What's not being discussed at the moment is the experience of trying to first of all, the experience of trying to find a job is dreadful. You're a recruiter, so I'm going to spare you no sympathy here. But when you apply for a job, you get an email back something along the lines of, if we like you and find your CV interesting, we'll be in touch. The other side is, if we don't, we're just going to completely blank you and ignore you. There's enough technology out there that you can at least respond, right? So
you're joking.
No.
These.
Look at the what was it? 14 seconds. The average CV is looked at. It's kind of scary. But the reality is, people are talking about the future of work, right? Sitting at a desk or remote commuting or a mixture of all that kind of stuff. But what about how you recruit people? How do you recruit people remotely? We can do video interviews, but do you still need to do face-to-face? And if so, you get back to geographical constraints. I mean, I've flown to the US for an interview before now, so that's kind of a bit extreme. But not everyone can kind of, schlep up and down the country just for a job interview. It's kind of difficult. So
I'm in Peterborough.
You're in Peterborough, in the middle of the country, kind of. Yeah. So I mean, people move around, but if you're going to rely on people working from home, that means interviews are going to be almost exclusively online. And then you join. How do you can't walk people around the office and introduce them to all the key people they need to meet. You have to do it virtually, which is not the same. You can't have the kind of chat by the photocopier or the water cooler, or outside having a cigarette or whatever. So you miss out on that. Now, if you're established in the company, you kind of compensate. But if you're new, how do you onboard someone? How do you ingratiate yourself with the rest of the team because you're an outsider to start with? And what does the whole process look like? No one's talking about that because that's a big challenge for companies and for people wanting to find a job.
So do you want me to tell you how it's working? Do you want me to tell the reality? Let's look at this 3 ways. So you can look at it as a candidate perspective, because change happens. People lose their jobs. Companies change so on all the time, not just during the COVID period. Then we look at an employer's perspective on what an employer is doing, how they're doing it, and look at it. And then we'll look at a company perspective of what is actually happening in the workforce nationally in offices. We'll talk about that's something that we can look at and talk about. So let's start off with and look at it from a candidate perspective. So contractors, there are this country in my market in financial services, there are a lot of people that are on contracts with 1 week notice. They were paying 10% tax because it seemed like a really good idea at the time. They, a lot of them got handed their notices. We're not going to need you because we can't prospectively work at home.
Yep.
Those candidates also, let's say they work in banking, they work in jobs where they've got personal data due to data protection laws and due to everything that is in set up in a bank. You can't just be working in your lounge on the laptop, on looking at someone's banking details. It's just not able. So on a candidate perspective, people that were already in the market were looking for jobs, looking to change, people that are trying to do a career change, because let's face it, and I'll get to the numbers in a minute, but there is a large percentage of people that will not be coming back into London, a large percentage, bigger than you'd think, and they've already decided to do something else. And that could be during lockdown or during furlough. I mean, if you and I were furloughed, John, what would be the first thing you do?
What, this repeatable in polite company?
You're a KYC contractor, and you're on 75% pay no matter what you do.
I'd sit down and work out what it is I want to do that's not related to my job. I'd find a new income stream, a new revenue stream. I'd take up a new hobby. My garden would be immaculate, but I would do all the things I've been meaning to do, whether they're career-wise or personal-wise. I'd use the time.
You said was, let me find another revenue stream. Let me get another 100% of an income that I can get that's not, let me do whatever it is, Uber driving, delivery driving, whatever it is that creates a world. That was on 100% of the people's minds when they got furloughed. But I think looking at the national statistics, it was like 18% of people went and did something else, which is still a large number. But ultimately, those people, plus people that just don't want to go back into business, make 20% of the workforce that's not going to go back. There are 90,000 recruiters in London.
But IR35 not new rules, but the way they're being applied starts today. And this isn't about IR35. Let's be clear. That's going to drive a lot of people from, temporary workers into permanent anyway, right?
Okay. This is a bit of a bearer of mine because I pay 40 grand of tax a year.
Yeah.
40, a number that is just ridiculous. Yet contractors that are on 100 grand pay £10,000 if that, even if they don't close their business at the end of the year.
I remember more than a few years ago now doing project for a government department in the world of transport, where they had so many people that were contractors and were being asked questions about how much tax they paid. We did a massive project for them. I get why it's been done. I have a little bit of sympathy for contractors who took a risk. No notice, no holiday pay, no sick pay, no perks, and all that kind of stuff. But they save money on tax. But I also have a sympathy for the good old PAYEs of this world, who kind of go, hang on a minute, I'm standing up and paying my fair share. So I get why they're doing it, and I have a sympathy for both sides, one more than the other. But let's not pick hairs over which one that is, right? But it's been a long time coming, and it's been delayed. So get over it and move on, right? So to your point, people now complaining about IR35. It's like, well, I'm sorry, that's the rules. If you don't like the rules, go play a different game.
It's funny thing about, and we don't want to drag on about IR35, but the amount of companies that go to me, we're not in IR35, we're a small business. Guys, if that's what you're thinking and you're watching this, go and ask a tax accountant or a tax lawyer to figure out what actually your responsibility is, because that doesn't flow. That won't flow. HMRC is not the regulator. HMRC does have funding. It has the personnel. It will find you and it will nail your testiculas to the ground. And
but then you get the case in Scotland of the lady radio presenter who won a case. You will always get people to throw up those arguments. But the reality is, you're absolutely right. And there's an online test you can do if you're not sure. So there's no excuse. But anyway, we're not here to talk about R35. The point is, the world of how you look for a job, find a job, the world of how you join a company, and potentially with people you're never going to meet. How do you a team of a dozen people recruit two more, right? Those two have never met and are never going to meet the other 12. How do you bond with that? Because you've never met them in the way that all these people have previously worked together.
I'll tell you what's interesting is, I was talking to somebody today about my live streaming, and they were like, that's a big risk, right? I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, well, it's a big risk that you don't say something, terrible, like something racist, swear, talk about politics, talk about, religion. We try not to do all of this, but this is just us having a conversation. We do this enough to know that what we're talking about is actually professional in its work.
Yep.
Personally, when we hang out, we have a bit of a joke and so on and so forth, but none of it is a detriment to any of those things.
No.
So before we started doing live streaming, and I do 4 or 5 hours a week on live streaming. Before we did live, we did videos, then posted them online.
Yep.
After a while, you and I were talking, why don't we just go and do this? And let's be very clear that this is separate to what we do for a day job. This is not us under the banner of our employment or our own companies. This is us under the banner of Seedcast, providing light entertainment based on subjects that we actually, through trial and error, have got maybe a difference of opinion of it, but we end up in the same result. So, and like I said, guys, it is live, and it is, you do have the option to chuck something in the chat. I'm not sure if it works across every platform, but if you want to get involved in the conversation, then great. I've been talking all day, so as I talk, my voice gets gradually worse and worse and worse. But look at it from a candidate perspective; it's unbelievably difficult. There are still jobs on the market. We are entering by the 1st of September. We will be in the golden era of recruitment. Yep, I am talking to people now, compliance people, all sorts of different types of people, wonderful people, fantastically good people who are looking to get into recruitment. Recruitment is a wonderful job. It's a very rewarding job. It is unbelievably hard work. If you think you're going to do a part-time job, it's like being a consultant, John. If I said to you, John, go and be a consultant, you'll do 3 hours a day and make 500 grand a year, you would have gone, yeah, great.
Yeah, sounds like a good job. Yeah. Well, you know what they say about being self-employed? You work twice as hard for half as much, right?
That's the same as recruitment. And recruitment, you can work for a week on something that doesn't bring you any money, and then you just move on. So, but I love this. I love the business. I've had the opportunity of working with some amazing people, and it's put me here where I think that I'm in the best position for me to be able to achieve and provide and do all that other stuff. But also, it's unbelievably rewarding. If you can find a recruiter that cares about you and your career and what you're doing as much as they care about how much money they're making, then you found the right person. A recruiter who cares about placing people and actually how he can help and benefit somebody more than money actually makes more money than the other people anyway. So recruitment is not about money. If you think you're going to come into recruitment and make 100 grand, then you're dreaming. It doesn't work like that. But there's so many options into it and coming into it. So please, guys, have a look into it. Also, if we look at it from an employer's perspective, looking at how hard it is during COVID times to do, we all spend ages on Zoom. Yep. This, what we're doing right now, is like a Zoom call. This is literally like me having a conversation on a Zoom call. So if you can't understand the etiquette, turn up on time, wear the correct clothing, be in an environment that actually works for you, then
nice t-shirt.
Yeah. My shirt.
So this is all part of the big announcement for tomorrow. Is that what you're saying?
No. So what time is it tomorrow? I think it's 11 o'clock. Let me have a look. What day is it today?
6th, Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 11 o'clock tomorrow. So 11 o'clock tomorrow, join me, guys, live. I'll be live with just me talking about and anyway, let's change the subject.
No. I was gonna say I'll tune into that. I should be in the car, but I should tune in. But yeah. So, but you're right. Everything's changed with regard to this. But how the process is not ideal anyway, right? Because the problem is recruitment is one of those things where technology is actually made for the candidate is made it worse, right? Once upon a time, you sent a CV in the post, you would get a phone call. Now, so much of it is automated, and you've got 10,000 people applying for one job instead of people taking their time and handwriting letters.
You know what? Technology came around, RecTech, whatever you want to call it, and then it was like it's going to be a life changer for employers. All you need to do is post a job on Reed. I hear the jobs all the time. Post a job on CV Library. You'll get perfect candidates. I've been placing jobs on job sites. No disrespect to the people who run job sites that I'm talking to. For 7 years, I've never placed one person that I've got from a job site. You get people applying for £500,000 a year jobs that work at Tesco's, and I'm
but certain roles will. If you're open, if a supermarket is opening a big new superstore and they want 20 shelf stackers and they may, that's easy. But the problem is there's so many people applying for so many jobs.
They get 5,000 CVs. So you're not looking at it. The amount of companies that I work with that go, oh, you know what, for the stuff that's under 50 grand, we can do the recruitment ourselves. We've got 2 people in the recruitment office. I say, great, go and post a job and see what you get back. And they're like, after 200 CVs, they're like, oh my God, this is a nightmare. I don't know how you guys do it. Because we have, how we do our recruitment is not based on me giving you a job and me looking online and just making a few lucky calls. It's about everything that I put into place to get to this point. We're on Ccast Live right now, guys. Tuesday, 7 o'clock live every week. I do a daily bake every day. I do other videos. We do calls with Antony, John, and Joe. I'm doing this live coaching thing with Joe. There are hours that I put in, and you do as well, John, to get people to know who you are. Because I feel like horse right now because I've been talking all day long and I'm still not 100% from getting back from COVID. But after this call, I'll get 50 messages from people going, oh, Antony, you're all right. You need to have a rest. You need to look after yourself. And to be fair, John, you do the same thing for me on the weekends. But there is a certain element of what we do that needs us to be able to talk to people, needs us to be able to do this. And to go back over your point, because it just popped into my head. If you cannot talk on this platform, you can't get yourself organized. We call it a screening process. I have a 22 touch point screening process. That is for candidates that I know are going to start a job. There is 2 reasons why I do that. One, I make a lot of money out of them. The second, I want to keep that money. Yeah. If they are not good candidates and you find out over a period of time, it's like dating someone. On the first date, you're like, oh my God, she's fantastic or he's fantastic. A week down the line, you're like, oh, I was walking down the road and she farted. She slipped one out. And then you're like, she Dutch ovened me. And that over a period of time, if you're hiring somebody right now, that screening process should be more than, did they turn up on time? Did they look organized? Did they ask the right questions? Somebody posted actually on LinkedIn, if your recruiter's asking you, if your company that you're trying to work for asks you these questions, get up and walk out. And I commented and said, well, actually, not everybody is a professional recruiter. Not everybody is a professional interviewing. You might just get somebody that actually doesn't know what to ask. And them asking you that questions gets a reaction out of you.
I've been on an interview panel. And it's hard work, right? If you're applying for jobs, you've done your homework, you've researched the company, who you're going to meet, you kind of know who's likely to be on the interview panel, you do all that kind of stuff, you know the questions you're going to ask, etc., and you've done 3 or 4 or 5 interviews probably beforehand, even some you knew you weren't going to get, but just to warm you up and just to get used to it, which is again annoying because you're fundamentally wasting people's time. But as not a recruiter, but as someone who was recruiting, if that makes sense, i.e. I was on the interview panel, there aren't any courses and there aren't any practice. You can't interview 5 people knowing you're not going to give them a job in the first place just to warm yourself up. It's not fair, So it's tough being the other side if you don't have a career in it.
I speak to 50 people a day, at least, every day, 7 days a week. People call me on Saturdays and Sunday. This week on Sunday, I was playing football at 10. I was in my football kit. I was about to play football. My phone rang. Sunday at 10 o'clock in the morning, I answered the phone. Hi, Anthony. Just responding to your advert that I saw on LinkedIn on Thursday. I went, hi, who's it? He went, this is Kevin. I said, hey, Kevin, just about to play football, mate. Can you give us a shout maybe Monday or Tuesday? So I play football, and I go home. I'm knackered after playing an hour of football. Land on the couch, I get a phone call. Hey, Anthony, it's Kevin. You said give you a call a bit later. I'm like, dude, mate. I said, and normally I was so knackered. I was like, look, unfortunately, you're going to give me information. It's going to go in and it will disappear. So, but I don't mind that because I want people to feel that they are are relatable to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. But it's. If I'd have got a second call, I'd have said, look, I said, call me on Tuesday. You weren't listening. And I'd have very politely let them down, and that would have been the last conversation. Because I had one of those with a guy on Zoom last week. We set up a call, never met. It's the first chance to talk to the guy properly. We swapped a couple of emails. He was introduced to me by someone else, not as a client, but as a potential, associate. And then I got on the call at 10 minutes past. I always give people 10 minutes. Don't get me wrong, I'm not staring at the screen. I'm doing something else. But by 10 minutes past, he hasn't turned up. So I click off the call, cancel the meeting out my diary, send him a cancellation, done. 15:15, I get a text message on my phone. Where are you? I'm on the call. Oh, weird. Where are you? I'm on the call.
Working, mate. Yeah.
So
let's face it, John. We've been doing what we do a really long time. Yeah, we're not 25 years old. If somebody that worked for me that's 20 years old hung up on somebody because they were rude to them, I would actually get annoyed. I would say, you've got to, because I've done my time, mate, of listening, sucking it up. People now, I'm not rude to people, but but that's
the interesting thing. I don't know whether I'm more annoyed that he then said he had a computer problem. I don't know whether he's more annoyed that he didn't let me know in advance that he had a computer problem, or by the tone of his note saying, where are you?
If you're watching this, right, and you're looking for a new career, and you say, bearing in mind I do 10 Zooms a day with 20 Zooms a day, which is why I can't speak now. I had my first call this morning at 7:15. If you cannot get on time, organised, I've had calls up until right before we're on this call. In fact, you even messaged me and said, Anthony, I haven't heard from you all day. Do you want me to start and get on with it? But at 5 minutes to, I pulled it out my ass and here we are. From where the sun doesn't shine. So there's a couple of things I'd like to cover on this, and this is candidates, guys. So this is important. If you want a job, find a recruiter that cares. Yeah, and don't get annoyed when if he doesn't reply to you, because normally it's like someone not buying from you. The information that you're giving is not right. What I mean by that is your CV make sense? And if all these people that if you've got your picture on your CV, don't bother sending it. Make it clear, make it concise. And this is gold, by the way.
I've got mine on my CV.
Yeah, but you're glorious, John. So you have got your CV. It's clear, it's concise. It doesn't have 50 different columns because they have to edit it and put it on their format. Nice and simple. If you have seen a job that person has advertised, a recruiter, be specific. My name is Antony Baker. Hi, John. My name is Antony Baker. I saw that you posted for a head of compliance for an investment bank in London. I have 5 years of experience at working in investment banks in London. I was on 70 grand the last time, or 100 grand the last time I was there. I'm on a 2-month notice period, currently working in asset management. Please, would you have an interest and give me a shout back? Mate, that would be nice and clear. The emails are, if you send me an email that says, my CV's attached, please look at my CV and tell me what relevant jobs that you've got to according to it, you're not getting a call back. No one's calling you back unless they've got absolutely nothing to do.
No, well, yeah. I mean, I've got my picture on my CV. Sorry about that, but I can't remember the last time I used my CV. But that's interesting. You
the 80s
you have to put
time though, John. If you show me your picture on your CV, if it's you with of hair,
mine's written on parchment. Yeah, no, I mean, but it's interesting. You get this. Oh, we have to put it in our format. Why? They all begin with name, address, current job. Blah,
Why
blah,
do you
blah.
think we put it in format to send it across?
Why?
Why do you think? Have a guess.
I don't care. If I'm recruiting, I've been on the interview panel, I don't care if I've got the CVs all in different formats. I don't care. It's got the same information.
Okay, but it doesn't have the same information. That's my point entirely. So let's say I send 100 CVs to you a week. Yep. What you want off that CV is in your head. You might have maybe told me, but I format a CV to look exactly the same. Content, a career, their education at the top, name, education, their particular set of skills if they're relevant to the job, and in their career. Yeah. And it is laid out, same font, everything the same. So every time they get a CV from me, it looks exactly the same. And the information that they want that they can achieve, they can look to straight away.
So how many hours a week do you spend doing that?
It takes you 10 seconds.
Okay.
Not even. Because I do. Also, I don't do a massive amount of them myself. somebody that does them.
Okay.
I used to have a lady work for me, Nikki, and she was really good. She, apart from when she left, she made up a load of crap. But she, because that happens a lot in recruitment, sorry, but you've been let go. And they instantly get defensive. It's your fault. Someone with this or this and that crap. You just weren't good enough, love. But she was the best person ever come across at doing a CV and getting a CV across. It was immaculate. But when you send 150 CVs a week, you get a little bit less. I go onto their own CV. I highlight everything. I make it all black because who puts coloured ink on their pen, on their stuff? I make it all black. I put it all into the same font and same size. And then I just drag across onto my headed CV paper, the education, so on and so forth. So it may be laid out slightly different, but all the information is readable and achievable from where they need to get it. Bang, done. 10 seconds, not even. Don't tell everybody I do that.
But the point is, you still are being recruited for a job, and you're potentially never going to meet the person face to face now.
Hey, dude, we've had this conversation a lot, John. I work in an industry where it is failing because people are not sat in the office. By October, bearing in mind that if we have another bloody pandemic that comes from whatever, me not knowing what the horizon looks like on that sort of scale, if all things considered the way they're going right now, everybody will be back in the workforce by October. When they go back, this is what's going to happen. People, and I can tell you this from experience, and Mo, if you're watching this, how you doing, mate? People are going to be different. They are going to be different because people that have worked for 10 years in an office environment and they've got used to it and they've built a particular set of skills have lost them. I can tell you. From sitting in front of Tetris or Bob the Builder or whatever they're doing with their family, they have lost that edge.
But that's interesting. So there's a lady you and I both know. She met up with an old school friend, hadn't seen him in years, moved away, moved back, all that kind of stuff. And she met, under the new rules, coffee in a park, sitting down.
Yeah.
And she's a smart cookie, and she's not some, she won't mind me saying she's not some young girl. She's a young lady, but she's not some sort of kid, right?
Some old bird,
So, but she said she struggled with small talk. Yeah, because she spent, fundamentally a year sitting in front of a computer, and she said she couldn't do eye contact because even when you look at someone's eyes on a computer screen, you're actually just looking at a computer screen.
Yeah. See, but if I look at, I've got to look up there, but actually I'm looking at you.
Yeah. So she struggled with small talk and simple stuff like that. Now, there's going to be a lot of that, right? A lot of those social skills are going to be forgotten and have to be relearned to a certain extent. Okay, it'll become quickly, but some people will struggle, right? It's going to be an interesting time.
I think I'm in awkward situations all the time, and I love an awkward situation. If it is uncomfortable, I am the king of pausing. I just love to watch people go, not to watch them go. I have brutal conversations all day long. There's nothing harder, and I get no satisfaction out of it. There is nothing harder than telling somebody they weren't successful in the job.
Yep.
Other than someone's just passed away or whatever it is. But it is super difficult because death and your job and moving are the three most successful, most stressful parts of your life. So telling somebody that they weren't successful, after you've built up the job and you've told them that they're great for it and so on and so forth, is pretty brutal. But you see, you get used to it.
There was a book, and I don't know who wrote it, or was part of a book about something along the lines of losing a job is actually akin to a bereavement.
It is. Well, it is, because you don't just lose the job, what you do that pays you, you lose everything that comes with it. That's why contractors get to the point where they do 10 years in contracting and they go into perm, because they want to be invited to the Christmas party. They want actually to be able to be involved in all the accolades that come with a job. And if your company looks after you well enough, which hopefully it does, and that's a story, that's a topic for another day, maybe tomorrow. But if your company looks after you well enough, there should be no question of your loyalty to that brand. There are key indicators that your company doesn't give a crap about you, and maybe we'll have a conversation about that another day. Today's not the day, but your worth is not in sales, could potentially be your balance sheet at the end of the month, but it's not. It's how you contribute, but also how it makes you feel, because employers have a responsibility to make sure that you are not just doing your job and you're doing well and it's successful to the business, but that your mental health is in the right state, and that because they are, Jehovah's Witnesses are trained in identifying if anyone's at risk at home, because they knock on people's doors. So they are trained in safeguarding. And they, much as whatever you think of Jehovah's Witnesses, if they knock on your door and they see something as an issue, they will look after you. They will help you. And that's got nothing to do with their faith. That's just got to be them of being good human beings or whatever it is. So, your employer is not just there to put money on the table at the end of the month. It is to ask you, how is everything during the COVID period? Are you safe at home? Is your partner, is there an issue that we can deal with or work through? Is there a reason why you're late to every meeting? Is there a reason why you've got the same shirt on that you've had for 2 weeks? There are lots of things that our employer has had to educate themselves on. Yeah. So when you look at people coming back from being off, you look at management. We both manage people. We've run businesses. We've had our own businesses, and we're used to that. So our first job every day is, and you do this to me as a mate and as somebody that that we get on, and professionally is great as well. So you will identify probably before a lot of people if I'm at a stage where I'm vulnerable. And that vulnerable doesn't have to mean that you're lying on the floor and someone's going to come and take your shoes or whatever. It can be you just need to rest. You just need to chill. You're right at work. Is everything all right at home? I've had some horrible stuff happen recently, and you were one of the first people I spoke to. That conversation was a really hard conversation for me, but identifying that is what employers have to do.
Yes.
Every day. And if you've got 100 people working for your company, if you've got 10 people working for your company and you don't know how to do it, then
it's what managers have to do, and who trains the managers on that? Because I don't think most companies do. I don't think most companies, if you're a manager of a team, you'll go on a Excel training course, or you'll go on a staff appraisal 360 course, or you'll go on a whatever. How many companies actually do mental health awareness training or physical health awareness training, right? For employers, for their managers. I don't know. I personally don't know of any that do. I think I have an idea of one that does.
You know what's interesting about this, John? I'm interested to hear your comments and thoughts of this. Today, I saw 10 people get promoted in recruitment. Promoted that are definitely not worth a promotion. Why do you think they were promoted?
Just make them feel better.
For what reason?
Well, it's an ego thing, isn't it? Yeah, it's pat them on the back.
Leaving.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because now is a really good time to find recruiters or people in the sales that work for better companies than what you've got. Pay them a little bit more money. How much do you want, John? Oh, you want 100 grand? How about I pay you 120 grand? At the end of this, you come and work for me.
Yep.
Fantastic. You know, and I'll promote you to.
I've had people come to me, go, I've been made an offer somewhere else, and I just go, okay, go. Yeah. You know, as soon as someone looks over the fence, there's no point trying to hold on to them.
Yeah, because people are not ringing you going, in recruitment, if you're any good at it, I get 5 companies a week coming to me saying to come and work with me, Anthony. You know, and a lot of those people that have done that are actually friends of mine, people that I deal with. So, you know, but all my dad always used to say to me, employ people, treat them like they can go and do what you're doing by themselves. Yep. Treat them well enough and pay them well enough to make them stay. You know, and people don't leave companies because they were getting paid too much money and it was everything was fun and games. They leave because of the people around them, or because they weren't given what they were promised. You know,
there's a Canadian company called Visier that I know very, very well. They do a whole really detailed analytics on why people leave companies. You know, they don't just present data. Or the way they present the information they find is actually scripted. I.e., you know, you don't get a pretty Excel spreadsheet. You get literally these 3 people are the ones likely to leave, and here's why in longhand written format. It's a very, very cool piece of software.
Yeah.
And never, pretty much, is it about salary. You know, it's about career opportunities. It's about training. It's about your line manager. It's about, you know, the commute. It's about your physical well-being. It's about your mental health. It's all those other things. Way, way, way down the list is money.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that is I do what's called a pre-check, or a screen check or horizon check, whatever you want to call it. I call it a pre-check with a lot of the companies that I work for. And I say, right, on the 3rd of April, everyone gets their bonuses, or the 3rd of March, gets their bonuses for last year. Yep, 3rd of April. So right now, if the world was normality, everyone would be getting their bonuses. So everyone waits till bonus day and then leaves.
Yep.
The hiring managers know who those people are going to be. So we pre-recruit for those roles. Yep. Yeah.
Just having warm standby.
Yeah, because 5 people in compliance leaving with a 20-person team is catastrophe.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So right now, we're entering a world where 20% of the people in my businesses in banking and financial services are not going to return to work. 20%. The company
return to the office or not return to work?
Going to return to work because they're going to have to go back to the office.
Okay.
Bankers are going to have to go back. If you're in banking, if you're watching this and you're in banking, I hate to tell you, chaps, you're going back to the office. Yeah. If you don't want to go back to the office, find a different career. You know, and there are exceptions. If you're a trader and you work for UBS have been doing this for 10 years. You can go work at home. But if you are KYC and you are grunt work and you're a processor and you're back office staff, middle office, back office, trust me, guys, you're going to back work in the workforce. There's too much derive off of the regulator goes, right, John, your company needs to do a redress or refresh or whatever it is on 50,000 cases.
Yep.
And you get it done by Tuesday. You go, can we do it? Do we get someone else in, Lysis or whoever it is, to help you with that piece of work, remediation project? Then you are targeted off of what you need to get done. And the regulator will be every week to see how you're getting on. You go and put people at home, 30% of your of what you would normally do just goes out and walks out the door. Because regardless of what people tell you.
Well, but Anderson's did that. Anderson's, one of them, did that study, wasn't there? We're working 10% longer and we're 10%. No, we're working 20% longer and we're 10% less efficient.
Yeah.
But we're working 20% longer, so there's a net gain.
But that's a misquote, I think, because that's senior managers over 60 grand.
Okay.
Yeah. People under 60 grand are not working 20% longer. I can tell you that much right now. I wish they would. I wish they would. But
so tomorrow, 11 o'clock, we've all got to tune in. Yes.
So it's Tuesday the 6th of April, everybody. It's 7:40. We've gone on about this quite a long time. It's something that actually that we both enjoy doing. John likes putting great stories up, like what was it? Cold Calling's Dead. Was that one of them? Or
No,
CV's Dead.
CV is not worth the paper it's written on.
The CV's
you like that one, didn't you? Admit it.
Yeah. Maybe want to ring you up and punch you down the phone, pressing button number 5, slapping. But I also really enjoy it. If you're not a recruiter and you like posting things about recruiters on your LinkedIn page, please keep doing it. It does give me entertainment. Everybody should work in recruitment for a couple of weeks.
Okay, maybe not. Thanks for the offer, but I'm busy.
Yeah. So, guys, it is 7:40. We've gone on for 10 minutes longer than what we normally do. John, it's been an absolute pleasure. Hopefully people got some entertainment out of this. I know that I did. I cannot speak anymore. It's 7:40. In 5 minutes, I'm going to be asleep. And then at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, I get to do it all again. So 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, please, guys, log on. I'll post the stuff out again a bit later on, but I will be live. There's some very, very interesting news about me and what I'm doing. Change is coming. Have a good evening, John.